to episode 42 of Widow to Widow Live. So whether you're watching live or watching the replay, I want you to know that this is a safe space just for you. Some of you that have not ever watched an episode before are wondering like, well, she's just going live. This is only her second time. I actually have been going live inside my Widow Rising Facebook group. But because of some of the algorithms that have changed or policies within Facebook to take down videos after 30 days, I decided to bring these videos over to YouTube so that we have a place where our widows can find these videos at any time and of course beyond the 30 days. So welcome to my YouTube community. So happy to have you guys here. Now we just have a broader audience, which is really, really cool. So today's episode is all about sitting with your feelings. I know that for a lot of widows, this is not always easy. There are some that just can't stop crying and they're feeling everything, right? And some are saying, well, it's hard not to feel. But there's a difference between actually allowing yourself to feel and feeling this uncomfortable, painful feeling that you're trying to stuff down. And that's why some say, well, it's hard not to feel. I'm always feeling. There's a bit of truth in that, but it's not completely true because again, you have to be intentional about feeling and sitting with those feelings versus knowing that they're there and trying your hardest to stuff it down. So two different ways of actually feeling your emotions inside of your body. So I just want you to know that it is important to sit with those feelings, right? Don't rush past them. No need to try and fix them. And no need to drown in guilt because you still feel something that maybe you think you shouldn't be feeling anymore. That is also something that comes up a lot is widows that have been going on this journey for a few years and people around them saying, why are you still here? Like you need to move on. And that also couldn't be further from the truth. We all walk this journey at a different pace. And some of us need to sit with our feelings a lot longer than others. And no way is better than another way. So just so you know that, all right? So I want to first talk a little bit about, just my story. For those of you that have never met me before and are probably wondering, like, who is this girl? And, where's she coming from with talking about grief in this manner? Well, I've been a widow myself for almost 10 years. July 17 will mark 10 years since I lost my husband, Frank, in a motorcycle accident. And in fact, this year has been a very interesting year for me from the start. And I realized that my body is remembering what happened 10 years ago and really kind of revisiting those feelings. And so I've been a little bit more emotional lately. I feel a lot of unsettling in my stomach. My heart a lot of times is feeling a lot heavier than normal. And sometimes it's just out of nowhere. I'm not thinking about anything particular. Although Frank is always on my mind, not always with a heaviness or a sadness in my heart, always missing him, but there's so much more gratitude and love over the years that I've been going through this journey. But again, it's all about your body remembering where you were all those years ago, right? So the body always goes back to what's familiar. Thank you for those of you that are here. Hello. I see your comments. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and go through what I want to talk about today because I usually am on here for only about 30 minutes at the most. I don't like to stay on here longer than that because, I'm very mindful of your time. And so 30 minutes or less, that's all I'm going to be on here for. So thank you for coming on and tuning in. So I want you to first, number one, acknowledge and allow yourself to feel, right? Imagine your feelings being like a child that's kind of tugging at you. This was kind of me, in the beginning of my journey, my granddaughters just tugging on my leg, right? Or my dress or my shirt and just wanting to get my attention. And that's the like human emotions. They're gonna tug at you until you allow them to be seen, to allow them to be heard. And a lot of times that's all it takes, right? So just allow your feelings to be felt and just allow it to be like, okay, I hear you. And honestly, like in that moment that you allow that to happen, the intensity starts to shift. I know it's crazy, right? But it does happen, right? So allow those feelings to be seen and heard. The second thing about sitting with your feelings is letting your emotions exist without judgment. Like I know we are our worst critics. I know I'm my worst critic for sure. But think of your emotions like the colors of a painter's palette. Blue is not better than red. Purple can exist with all of them. And all of the colors together make something beautiful, makes this masterpiece, right? So look at grief without judgment. Don't look at it with flaws. Don't look at it with guilt. Look at it with curiosity. Look at it as a way to help you move through this journey, okay? The next thing is don't label emotions as good or bad, right? I remember talking to several different widows, and myself included, when that first time when we laughed after our husband died, it was almost like the guilt just kind of rushed over us, right? It's like, oh my God, we shouldn't be happy right now. And so we find every reason to validate why we should stay sad. And when we think of our emotions as good or bad, our brain is going to look at it as truth. So if we look at our emotions as something as bad, the brain is always going to find reasons to validate that, hence why you feel guilty for laughing, you feel guilty for being happy, you feel guilty for feeling a little bit of good inside of you. And then the brain will go back to what's familiar, the pain, the sadness, all of that, right? And so don't label your emotions as good or bad. Label them as what they are. They're real. Your emotions are real. The next thing to be able to sit with your feelings is practice compassion, right, within yourself. Think about how you'd speak to a friend who's hurting. Would you tell her to hurry up? Would you rush her through that? No, right? You'd hold space for her, right? And that's what I'm inviting you to do for yourself right now in this moment, right? Just give yourself compassion as you're navigating through this journey, because it's not easy, right? It's not an easy journey to navigate. The other thing is notice where you're feeling it. Earlier I talked about the grief being in my body, like my gut feeling unsettled, my heart feeling a little bit heavy. In fact, just a few days ago, I had like this tension in my shoulders, right? And I was getting curious and trying to understand, like, where's that coming from? And even myself, as a grief coach, I also need to be coached or have a coach, have somebody to support me through my own journey, right? I may have all the tools, but again, I've always said to the widows that I work with or that I talk with that we are not meant to do this journey by ourselves, myself included, right? So I was talking to my emotional coach about this tightness in my shoulders, and it's like, I know I'm stuck somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where. And so sometimes we need someone to help guide us, ask us the right questions to help shift it, right? But the first thing for yourself, if you don't have anybody right now, like just notice, like, where are you feeling it in your body, right? Tightness of your chest, tightness or tension up here in your shoulders, this feeling in your stomach. Maybe your your jaw is hurting from clenching it all day. Sometimes we're unaware and we're like feeling all this tension and we're like, I've done that a lot, especially when I was wearing braces. And then I noticed that when I like opened my mouth, like I just had this like really intense pain. I didn't realize it's because I was clenching my jaw a lot after Frank died. I was still wearing my braces then. And so just notice where it's at in your body. Where is the pain, the grief? Where's it living in your body? And then just sit with it, right? Tell wherever it's at in your body that it's safe to be felt right now, and just allow that to happen. Validate what or why you're feeling this way, right? Um, you don't need to justify your sadness or your frustration, right? You just need to know that it is valid, right? Just remember, like, love doesn't have an expiration date. And what I always say is, before we grieve, we love, right? So before there was grief, there was first love. And honestly, during and after the grief, there's still love, because the love doesn't have an expiration date. This is why we grieve so heavily, is because we loved so deeply. Stay mindful and present, right? Grief can pull you into the past. For me, my past is this way, and then my future is this way. And so grief will pull you into your past or into your future. Sorry, this is my future. Your past or your future. You want to bring yourself into the now, right? And how do you do that? Get grounded. I always say human emotions are going to feel overwhelming. And so in order for us to just be fully present in where we're at, get grounded with your senses. Touch something. Focus on something, right? See something. And then just feel it, right? Just feel it and just honor it, right? So I'm here, I'm okay right now, and get grounded with your senses. And I promise you that can be like really powerful, just moment by moment, right? Moment by moment. The next thing is bring awareness to how you speak to yourself. Right? I know for me, and I have to tell myself this a lot, because I am my worst critic, right? And so sometimes we just have to become aware of what we're saying to ourselves, right? I hear a lot of widows saying, I should be over this by now. God, I'm too emotional. I can't stop crying. That's okay. Keep crying. Tears are a way to release toxicity from the body, and they're really the body's way of expressing, right, human emotions, right? So instead of saying, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, say, maybe I could be doing this, right? Maybe. But right now, in this moment, I'm just going to feel it. I'm just going to own those feelings, right? Or tell yourself, I'm doing the best I can with what I have today. I'm doing the best I can with what I have today. Right? And then the last thing is identify what you're feeling. Have you ever tried explaining what you're feeling and all you could say is, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel off. I don't know. I just don't feel like doing anything today. I don't know. Right? And that's because almost always, and for a lot of us, for most of us, we weren't taught how to feel bad, painful human emotions. And so we learn to stuff it down instead of identifying and feeling, acknowledging what it is that's coming up for us. And so a lot of times these emotions get lost in translation, right? And all we know is overwhelm. All we know is pain. But I promise you, there are a lot more creative words than overwhelm and pain, right? So one of the things that I share with my widows is a feelings wheel, right? Get a hold of a feelings wheel. It's so creative, and there's like basic human emotions, and then from those basic human emotions, there's so many other human emotions that kind of go out into this wheel, and then that way you could find the word that actually fits what you're feeling in that moment. And identifying what that word is helps you also to get unstuck, right? It allows you to sit with those feelings and then allow it to process. I hope that was helpful for all of you. Again, whether you're watching the live or the replay, thank you so much for being here. And I want to end with this, right? Please know that you're not too much for feeling deeply. You guys, when I first lost Frank, every human emotion in the dictionary, I say dictionary, I guess I'm showing my age, right? But every human emotion, every word that was a human emotion, I felt. I really did. And it was so much for me, right? But I want you to know that I realized as I started to go down the healing journey, right? So there's the grief journey. You have to feel, acknowledge, sit with the feelings. But eventually you'll get to this place of, I'm ready to heal now. I don't want to sit sad, lonely, depressed, whatever words you come up with, scared, confused, angry. I don't want to sit here anymore. I want to move through the healing now, right? And so there's the grief journey and there's the healing journey. When I started to go on the healing journey, I realized what I said to you earlier. I grieved so deeply because I loved Frank so deeply. I still love him very deeply, right? And so that is what happens when we grieve. And so it's never too much. Please know that your human emotions are never too much. Like I said earlier, they're real. They're the real feelings. They're who you are in this moment, or what you're feeling in this moment. Sorry, your grief does not define you. Please know that, right? So don't feel like you need to rush your way back to feeling okay. The grief is normal and natural. It's meant to be felt. It's meant to be acknowledged. It's meant to be seen and validated. But eventually, you'll get to a place, I hope, that you will intentionally make a decision that you're ready to heal. And then moving through that healing journey then will allow you to even process those human emotions even better and faster, because now you have the right tools, right? When we make a decision to do something, the universe will lead the right answers to you. So just remember that. Make a choice. Today I choose to feel. Tomorrow I choose to heal. Today I choose to feel. Tomorrow I choose to heal. Make that decision, and I promise you the universe will find a way to give you those answers. Right? So I hope this landed for you today. Drop a heart in the comments below to let me know if it did, or if you have any questions, right? Put it in the comments. I'll always come back and look and see what you guys put in here. If you are a widowed woman, right? So this is for the ladies. If you are widowed and you are female, I do have a group inside Facebook. This is where I was doing all of these Facebook Lives initially. So know that you're invited to come. It's going to be in the description of this video. You can click on that and answer the membership questions, and then we'll let you in. We'd love to have you there. It's a community of amazing, compassionate, loving, supportive women that are on a journey just like you, right? They could be maybe years ahead. They maybe just joined and are only months in. And for yourself as well, it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. Like I'm almost 10 years in. I'm remarried again, but I'm still a widow, right? So I'm Frank's widow and I'm Mick's wife. Doesn't change my journey of moving forward as a widow just because I remarried. Doesn't mean that Frank is forgotten in my life. He's always right here. He's the reason that I do what I do as a widow coach, right? And so doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. We'd love to have you, because again, if you've been in your journey for a lot longer, we'd love to know like what has helped you move forward. Like a lot of the ladies would love to have some ideas, right? Because Darlene's way of moving through my journey may not be somebody else's. Like I needed to move quickly. I had a big family. I had grandchildren that needed me to smile, laugh, and play with them, right? So I couldn't stay stuck, right? But a big part of me didn't want to either. Even though when I first lost Frank, and I'll be honest, when I first lost him, I thought, nope, I'm never going to be happy. I'm always going to be sad and lonely for the rest of my life. But also those grandchildren tugging at my leg and wanting me to be present for them. And I didn't know how to do that if I was going to be stuck in my grief. So I had to make a decision. And once I made that decision to go find help, I found the right help. I found the right help, right? So I'm hoping for that for you as well. You guys, much love and blessings to you. I'll be back on here next week, same day, maybe not always the same time. I'm on here like maybe there's like a 30 to an hour time frame that I kind of move, adjust before or after. But this is ideally around the time that I do come on live. And again, if you're not able to come on live with me, that's okay. You can watch the replay. We'd love to have you. All right, have a safe day, safe weekend, wherever you're at in the world. And I will talk to you again soon. Take care.